I think we got everything going. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to my second monthly channel update slash Q&A slash town hall slash whatever we want to call these things. As I said last time, I'll be doing this every month, last Sunday of each month. I think we got everything going. Hold on. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to my second monthly channel update slash Q&A slash town hall slash whatever we want to call these things. As I said last time, I'll be doing this every month, last Sunday of each month. There it is. All right. Had my own live stream window open, had to go hunt it down. Too many windows open at once. I don't know if you guys were hearing that. Probably you were. So a little bit of duplication there. As I said, I always forget something every time I stream to YouTube. So, yeah, I was hearing voices in my head too. I took the schizophrenic trait for this broadcast, so I think we're okay now. Now it's just the one voice without all of the doubling up, hopefully. Chat's working, looks like. There is a bit of a delay between what I say and your guys' chat coming in. But it worked just fine last time, and it's not like this is an action game. I can take my time and just do the chatting type stuff. So, what time is it? We're a few minutes in. Yeah, so we can just start talking about things. So my plans for these monthly updates is pretty loose. It's going to change as time goes by, and as people's interests change. I'll probably start with just a few points I want to highlight or make, and then I'll just kind of throw things open to general chat, questions about my interests, the games I cover on the channel, Cataclysm, demonstrations in the Cataclysm, whatever. That's why I'll usually have Cataclysm open for these until I decide to change the format. So let's talk about a couple things. So first things first, on the partnership for Twitch thing, the status. Unfortunately, Twitch turned down my application. They said, nope, not at this time. They gave me a good pat on the head, said everything looks great, channel's doing well, but we want to see a little more longer-term progress and maintaining of the numbers and such. So they said no, but that's fine. I figured when I was submitting the application, I thought I had about maybe a 30-40% chance of getting an okay on my first try. Lots and lots and lots of people take multiple applications, and I can resubmit anytime I want, pretty much. So I'm going to let the channel grow a little bit further and prove that we've got the numbers and can maintain consistency before I submit again. So I'll let you guys know next time I submit, and we'll make a push or something. But yeah, so Twitch said no, unfortunately, which is fine at this stage. We're still pretty early, and we were right on the razor's edge of being able to submit the application via that process anyway. So, not unhappy about it. It'll all work out. So that's the official answer there. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. The channel's going to hit 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube here in the next couple of days. We are at... What are we at? Got all my channel stuff on too many different pages here. As of right now, come on, come on, little YouTube beta. 4967, so we're 33 off, and we should make it by Wednesday. We've been doing about 10 to 15 a day for the last month or so, so it's still growing, slow but steady. And we'll hit 5,000. I don't know. Should I do some kind of thing for 5,000? I thought about doing it for this one. I was hoping we would make it so I could announce it here. But we're still 2 or 3 days off. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna do something in particular for the 5,000 benchmark. It's pretty important. It's a general benchmark. Nothing changes really, but it's an important achievement that I would like to mark in some kind of a way. So, if anybody has any ideas, something they'd like to see me do, try, talk about for the 5,000 achievement, I'm all ears. I don't have anything in particular in mind, so. But thanks for everybody's ongoing support, continued support, and helping grow the channel. Really do appreciate it. Next on my list was... Oh, I forgot. We were going to have a special guest star this month. Zombie Dog. Alright. There you go. Zombie Dog's going to help me out with this broadcast. He's soulfully gazing at me, waiting for his cookies. Alright, so, yeah, so I don't know what I'll do for the 5,000 marker, but feel free to let me know if you have any ideas, especially my Discord channel. What else to talk about? Let's talk about some Cataclysm stuff. So, I had put out a PSA on the changes to turrets last week, and had a lot of responses, a lot of views, a lot of opinions, and things like that. I did some testing in-game, and as part of that PSA, I had talked about the wandering turret problem that had been going on for quite a while. Just to let you guys know, if you haven't already figured it out or heard me say it or seen my live streams over on Twitch, that problem was fixed the very next day. So they put out a fix. I forget which build number it was, but the turret wandering problem is fixed. Labs are back to the way they used to be, with their turrets all up on their little countertops and in their correct positions. Now, this does not mean you're not going to encounter turrets in a few odd positions in certain lab arrangements, because it is normal and they are positioned specifically in some surprising locations. And if you've played the game enough and you've done enough lab diving, you know the areas I'm talking about. But they're no longer 2-3 spaces off. They're no longer in different rooms, especially those ones that are in the small square rooms. They're not wandering off into totally separate areas like they used to. So that kind of stuff got fixed, which is very good news. I'm happy to see that got taken care of. The turrets themselves, with the changes to not have any light and to have their ranges extended a bit, I'm still undecided on how useful that change was. There is a new PR coming that's looking to totally change turrets, but I don't know if it's only going to change specific turrets and specific locations, or if it's all turrets, or exactly how all-encompassing that change is likely to be. So let me know what you guys think. My personal opinion is it actually makes lab escapes easier if you're already familiar with turrets and their arrangements and dealing with them and so on. But I'm still very much of the opinion that the night vision should either be reduced by 1 for the turrets, or players should get back the 1 night vision that has been removed from us through the various lighting mathematics and night vision mathematics and so on. Because if you weren't aware, the way it's supposed to work is your night vision rating, how many spaces you can see around you, is supposed to be your perception divided by 3, and then if you have night vision trait, you get +2, and then for each level of night vision beyond that, you get an additional 2, because there's multiple levels of night vision all the way up to full night vision. So if you take 9 perception and night vision trait during character build, you should have a night vision range of 5. 3 for the perception, 9 divided by 3 is 3, +2 for night vision. Well, that's not what you get now. Now you get 4. So, and it's probably, I'm sure, due to some weird lighting calculations and the changes they've made. But essentially, we've been nerfed by 1 in our night vision range. So either, in my opinion, if you're going to keep the current turret status, I believe they should reduce the turret night vision range to 3, or give us back the 1 night vision range we had taken away, just to give players some reasonable chance of spotting these things and staying alive, just in normal lab escape situations. So even that, you're forcing players to put a point into perception from the base from 8 to 9 and take the night vision trait. Otherwise, you're just going to walk up on these things and have almost no reasonable way of dealing with them. So that's kind of my feel for the balance of things, of how I wish they would do them. Whether they have longer range plans for changing these things and they're just waiting and not going to change anything until then, I don't really know. But I don't like the current balancing of that. I think it's just out of whack for the players. So yeah. Now, as a reward for folks that are tuning in right now to watch this live stream and/or that watch the playback, I'm gonna share with you a secret, really, really cheesy way, just super stinky cheese on this one, to deal with turrets. You'll be amazed. You'll be flabbergasted. So, I'm going to share it right now. So, if you don't want to get spoilt on a super cheese method of dealing with turrets, then you want to turn away for the next minute or two. So, are you ready? Here we go. I'm going to demonstrate. So here we go with a lab. Now I'm at the far side of the entrance. The entrance is here. This is the traditional turret at the entrance. He's 5 distance in from the doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's sitting there ready to shoot me. He now has the 14 range, so he can shoot all the way up to this position. So if I move down a space, I could get shot. Now I do have a light going right now, so if I turn my light off, he won't be able to see me, and I could approach all the way up to 5 distance away, because he can see 4 and shoot out to 4. So here's the kind of cheesiness that can occur nowadays. If I turn off my light, reset that, so now it's dark, so he can't see me now. I could approach quite a good distance. Now I've got night vision on just for demonstration purposes. By that I mean I've got full night vision. Normally characters are not going to have this, but this little thing works even without the full night vision. So this is just to make this demonstration a little easier to understand what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and approach a little closer. We'll start right here. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our trusty knife spear, and we're going to go kill that turret with our knife spear without getting shot. How are we going to do that? Well, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to deploy a large cardboard box to that space. Then we're going to deploy another large cardboard box to that space. Then we're going to step inside this cardboard box, which now we are hiding inside. Turret can't see us. We're hiding. Super stealthy mode. Then we're going to grab the box north of me. We're going to move it to the south, let go of it, step into it, grab the box, move it to the south, let go of it, grab the box, move it to the south, let go of it, and so on. And let me check my range here. So turret is 1, 2, 3, 4. Turret's here. I need to get a box to that position. So we need to go 2 more boxes to the south. Whoops! Alright, well I screwed that up. You get the idea though. So I got busy talking and showing ranges and forgot which box I was in. But you can basically move box to box all the way down there. Here, let's do this. Let's kill that. I'll bring it right back up again. Mistype on my part. Always fun. But yeah, you can basically go box to box all the way up to 2 spaces away from the turret, and then you can stab it to death with your knife spear. And it'll be all dead. Alright, so there's our corpse. Let's see how to do this. He can shoot to 1, 2, 3, 4. He can shoot to right there. So I need to step. Yeah. Need to grab that. I can't move it because the corpse is in the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can go 1 more, supposedly. Alright. Let's shift the corpse stuff out of the way. Goodbye, corpse stuff. Alright, grab the box. Move it south. Hide in the box. Alright, so we're hiding in the box again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turret's there. I need to go 1 more. So, grab box, shift it around, let go. There we go. Alright, so the turret's in this space. We're now successfully 2 spaces away from the turret. If you use the fire key, the F key, you can then pick a direction. And you just keep doing that. You can't see the turret, but I'm striking the space that it's in. And you can either hear the clang when I hit it or the swish when I miss it. And when it's dead, it'll stop making any noise whatsoever. Not quite yet. Pretty soon, though. Still there. Alright, now there's no noise at all. So, now he's dead. There you go. Other than my miss keyboard press there in the middle, so do be careful, of course. But yeah, double cardboard box and a knife spear. Kill turrets. Doesn't really matter what kind of turrets as far as I can think. I think you can take out outpost turrets. I think you could take any turret out with this particular method. So, yeah. Like I said, super, super, super stinky, cheesy maneuver. Get your breath back there, buddy. Alright, he's got his breath back. And then you got some ammo and you got a broken turret. Yeah, that's the cardboard box power. You can take them down, take them in your inventory. They're a little bulky. So, good old cardboard boxes. They're 3 volume each, 2.76 pounds. But you can deploy them tactically. Just roll up to a military outpost, deploy your boxes at 41 range, and slowly inchworm your way into the fence line, and you can stab right through the chain link fence into the turrets. So unless they move the turrets a space away from the fence, then you would need a long reach weapon like a halberd or something in order to take them on. But you can still stab through chain link, can't you? I can't remember now. Maybe you can't do that anymore. I'll have to test it. But I used to be able to do it. So, but yeah, there you go. That is the super stinky strategy for the August 2019 channel update video. Let's teleport out of here. Long range. Let's go visit the. Where did I put it? Up there. Underground. Right there. Alright, let's go hang out in the gamer basement. Who should we recruit for the gamer basement? Hey, Jonathan. Thanks very much. Appreciate that. Did I get my Twitch partnership? You obviously missed the very first thing I talked about. I did not get the Twitch partnership. Twitch said, doing good job. They gave me a thumbs up and said, hey, you're doing great. Channel looks awesome, but we want to see a little more consistency in numbers, a little more length of time that you're maintaining numbers, that kind of thing. So I got a pat on the head and then a no answer. So no Twitch partnership for the first attempt. We'll make another attempt, but I'm going to wait a little bit. We'll let things go a little further into the process and maintain some history and some numbers before I make the next application. One sec. Moving my stuff around again here. All right, let me finish spawning somebody in. Who should we spawn in? Let's we got to bring in Gozu. I love Gozu because he just makes me laugh. So we'll invite Gozu to my game. Who else do we want? Jabberwock? Yeah, Jabberwock's fun. Let's bring Mr. Jabberwock into that seat. Flesh Golem. Fleshy Shambler. Who the hell are those guys? Do I bring in Shia? No, let's not bring in Shia. Shoggoth. I like Shoggoth. And who else? Oh, Night Stalkers are fun. Alright, there we go. There's our Dungeons and Dragons group. Okay. Flaming Eye. Tank drone. Well, as soon as I move or do anything, they're just going to wreck the place and wreck me anyway, so it's not really going to matter. I'll just leave that up as the kind of the background while we chat. My favorite, Cellar Spider? Yeah, you know my favorites. Cellar Spider is definitely one of them. More a moment here. Somebody's pinging me somewhere. On my torso, I only have a heavy survivor suit and 2 rifles. Is a machete a good choice? What? Alright. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, alright. So, we got our D&D crew going on. Let me make sure everything else is fine. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to do a general kind of an announcement thingy on. We talked about the Twitch partnership. It was a no, but doing a good job. Keep it up. Talked about the recent turret thing. There, like I said, there is a PR that's looking to change turrets, but I don't know if it's going to go through and just how inclusive it's going to be on all the various turrets. So There's a big controversy going on with the Migos, and I'm not sure. I think there's a change in build 9554 that says adjust spawns for Migo, but I didn't look at the details, and sometimes I have a hard time understanding these things when there's not just general, here's what this is intended to do type of info in the PR. But there's been some kind of an adjustment for spawns for Migos. Whether that means less of them running around or changes to the number of them in those encampments or what, I don't know. But there's a big thing with the Migos, the new Migos. So I've only run into them kind of tangentially, so I don't have a lot of opinion. But from what I've read in a couple of really heated Reddit threads, they do seem to be way, way to the far side of reasonable in regards to some of their abilities. So the slavers in particular apparently are just a nightmare with their beam attack ability thing. So there have been some pretty reasonable responses from some folks that did some testing. So hopefully it's just some coding errors and some overenthusiasm, and they get those things dialed back a bit and dialed in. So what else was big this week? Oh yeah, one other thing I am thinking of doing, and I want your guys' feedback, is I was thinking maybe of doing a weekly kind of a build number overview, a changelog overview. Now, if I do something like that, it's going to be very, very just rough and opinion-y. I'll basically just take a look at the builds from the last week forward to the current time, and then just kind of give some information. If I've got experience with it, give some overview on my experience with it, things like that. A lot of the build information, or changelog info, is just really, really minor code changes that I wouldn't have any kind of an opinion on. But for larger things that occur, like the turret changes and things like that, or new buildings maybe that I can demonstrate, that I might be able to bring some help or clarification to. Because it seems like a lot of these changes just kind of just thud into the game without much notice if you're not really paying close attention to these build notes. And even then, the build notes can be really innocuous, but the gameplay consequences could be pretty severe, depending on what you run into. So it was a thought that I might do like a 1 hour thing each week, just kind of reviewing the build numbers, the changelog changes that have happened for the previous 7 days, and kind of picking out certain items and talking about them, giving my information or opinions and stuff like that. So if you think that might be useful, or you'd be interested in hearing something like that, let me know. I'm not sure what kind of format I would do it in, whether I do a live stream version, and that way I could answer questions and stuff, or do a canned VOD. I could do it either way, but yeah, let me know. I can do it a few different directions. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, I may try one, see what kind of response I get, and then kind of go from there. Alright, let me back up through chat here, and I think I'll just start answering questions. I don't want today's update to go super, super long, so we went way longer this time than I thought, or last time than I thought we would, so. Box power, yeah, box power. Getting shot by turrets made you jump? Why is that? I get shot all the time by turrets. That's why we have YATD, yet another turret death. What is my opinion on splitting up the labs into smaller ones? Is that something that's actually happening? I haven't heard or read anything about that. My opinion is too much of the critical gameplay is tied up within 2 buildings. That would be a lab and the research facility. I wish they wouldn't be that way. But that's mostly a matter of needing to spread out the mid-late game content. There's just not much of it out there, and the little that gets added tends to be super awesome instant death type stuff that has no real value for going there, because in order to survive it, you've already got all the gear that you would get from going there. So that's a big issue I have with most of the things that are considered late game locations or content, is that in order to go there and survive, you've already got everything they could possibly give you as a reward, because you need it to actually survive this instant death crap that people keep throwing in as quote-unquote endgame content. So I wish there was a little more of a slope of difficulty from mid to end game. Right now, it's just a steep cliff that you eventually just hit. Can face tank burst of bullets, can't face tank burst of bullets, and that's the deciding factor. But yeah, I hadn't heard anything about the possibility of splitting up labs into smaller ones. What's my most bizarre, funny death you experienced in this game? Oh, I don't know. I've had a lot. Most of them have been sad. A few have been hilarious, and most of them end up on my quick slip videos. Unless they're the end of a run, I don't spoil the ends of challenges via my quick slips. Usually that's mid-game stuff, little snippets here and there. I don't know. You'd have to ask some of the audience actually for that one. I play so much Cataclysm, it all starts to kind of blend in after a while. I can't think off the top of my head of a particularly bizarre, funny death, but there have been a lot. I've died in some pretty hilarious ways. I just don't have a good enough memory to recall them. Vorm, do you play Magic the Gathering or any similar games? Let's see. How much to reveal about that topic? I have played Magic the Gathering against Richard Garfield in his hotel room at various conventions. He's a terrible Magic the Gathering player, which I find hilarious. But yeah, I used to play a ridiculous boatload of Magic the Gathering back when it was fun and cool. I realize I'm an old guy, so I started playing it back when it was literally brand new. So me and a buddy of mine played it a lot and went to a lot of conventions and sold a lot of cards. Recently, I haven't played much in the way of actual card versions. I've followed loosely the games, and I've also played some of the digital versions here and there. But none of them have really caught my attention all that much. Alright. Can you shoot? Let's see here. Yeah, go ahead and show that one. Jeremy Clark, can you shoot from inside a box without giving yourself away? It's even sillier than poking a spear. Well, the problem is you can only see one space away while you're in the box. Your vision is limited to one space. So you cannot shoot from further away. I guess you could do an AoE type shot? Can you force a gun to shoot at a space you can't see? I can't remember. It's been forever since I bothered to try something like that. With the reach attack, you can still poke the space next to you and it goes into that second space where the turret's at with the reach ability. So you get to hit the space you can't see. But I don't think you can target a gun at a space you can't actually see. So give it a try, let me know. I don't think it's possible. I can't remember though. Maybe it is. Do you think they should add distraction devices to the game, or is that something they have and I have just not seen them? There are some things that are considered distraction devices. They're just the way they work and the way the monsters behave gives them a little limited ability to do that. So Talking Doll is one of them. You can activate a Talking Doll. It's a noisemaker. And you just have to understand the limitations of how it's going to work. If the zombies can see you, they're still going to come straight after you. They're not going to go after a Talking Doll if you're in their line of sight. But if you got around a corner and then dropped a Talking Doll and then got around another corner and they didn't see you in between the moves, you could distract them with the Talking Doll. The doll would take precedence over their behavior. But the number of times you can put it to use, I myself just haven't been able to think of or to utilize it in ways effectively enough. And there's a few other tricks you can do in that regard. I don't often bother to try to do them in my episodes, but they are in the game. It's just, like I said, the behavior of the zombies or the enemies is what dictates it, and it can be a little difficult to actually pull off. Oh, here's one. Here's one of the favorite questions I love to get, or suggestions I love to get. I don't remember if I brought this up last time. That would be, hey Vorm, just set a fire. I'm running for my life from zombies. I'm on a hair advantage of a space or two, and people constantly tell me just set a fire. Try it. Actually, go try it. See how much luck you have. I love getting that question, as some of the regulars know, because it just doesn't work the way it used to. That used to be sage advice, used to be good information. But they changed the behavior of the enemies long ago, and it's not nearly as useful as you think it is when you're actively running from enemies. And, I mean, the problem is, if I can get enough time, space to actually set a fire that will grow quickly enough, I've already beaten the enemies. I've already gotten away, essentially. Because all I need is a few spaces and a door, and I'm safe. I mean, I don't have any problems evading everything. So, giving me the suggestion to light a fire, just, yeah, I get it so often. It always makes me chuckle now. You got me irritated for a while, but yeah. People suggesting that need to actually put themselves in the same situation they see me in, and then give that a try and see if they can get it to work. Because it's not really going to work much. Yeah, NPCs are distraction devices. They're getting better. I bash on NPCs in my personal play and in my personal opinion. I think the NPCs are awesome. I'm glad they're in the game. I'm glad people have fun with them. I'm glad they're working on them to improve them, but they drive me nuts. And it's almost all down to my style of play. My high mobility, high speed, high evasion. I cannot stand trying to deal with NPCs. I mean, people that just line up 5 NPCs abreast, give them all plate mail and all pikes, and march down a street, slaying hundreds of zombies. That's fine. You guys have fun with that. That's not the kind of game I play, and they can't keep up with me. So they drive me too nuts. The behavior, the interface, the nested menu system, it all just makes me crazy. So that's why you don't often see me doing anything with NPCs, unless I have a specific theme, like when I did the Escape from New York, or Escape from New England challenge, where I set up an NPC as the president and I had to go in and rescue him. That kind of thing I'm willing to do. But long-term NPC interaction, I'm still waiting and waiting and waiting and hoping for that long-promised and hoped-for NPC upgrade that has been planned for quite a while before I really take a hard revisit on the NPC stuff. Same thing with faction camps. Faction camps, you guys go crazy with faction camps. I'm not playing with them. I'm not going to do a video on them. It's too much of not finished stuff, too many problems, too many errors. I just not going to bother to dig time into it to learn it, and then have to answer people's questions and complaints and concerns and issues with it when I'm not using it myself. So I get that request fairly often, and the answer is just no. I'm not going to be talking about that stuff or trying to do videos on that stuff. More stuff coming in. Buildable robots. Have you heard about a game called Prospector Roguelike? No, I have not heard of Prospector Roguelike. There are so many roguelikes, roguelites, things that have no connection to rogue but get the rogue tag added onto them. It's kind of hard to keep track of most of them. There's 1 or 2 I've got on my keep an eye on list. I forget their names now, but yeah. What would be your traits and stats if you were a Cataclysm character, and have you ever thought about doing a challenge as myself? I've done challenges way, way harder than myself. I mean, I've done 4-4-4-4 stat challenges, and challenges with all the nastiest negative traits stockpiled on top of upgraded zombies. So it wouldn't really be a challenge if I played myself, especially given my knowledge of... I'm on the physical side, I'd be on the mid to low end of physical ability, but for knowledge of the world of just what things to look out for, I've mentioned before, I'm a super nerd when it comes to reading books and military fiction, science fiction, fantasy, apocalyptic stuff, all that kind of stuff. So you kind of absorb a few things, plus the decades of roleplay gaming and so on. So I've got a pretty solid knowledge base of things that I would want to do and how to do them. But the physical side would be a little rough, of course. I'm an old guy. I'm an old tired guy. But yeah, so I don't think really a challenge as myself would be all that challenging. I could do it as a theme, but it really, I'd have to give myself more difficulty. Nomad or base builder playstyle? I'm almost exclusively Nomad. Every once in a while I'll do a base builder, but it's mainly just a demo for people how to do bases. Most of my challenges, it's a little tough for me because almost all of my challenges tend to be short time frame. I know the game too well. I can go from 0 to hero in literal days, game days, if I want to. I mean, I know where everything's at. I know how to go get it. I know the easiest place to get it. I know the safest way to get it. So my viewpoint, my stance is a little slanted from the large majority of the game players, because I know where everything's at. I mean, I know what recipes need what items. I know what to pick up and so on. So my challenge runs all tend to be short to mid-game time frame. So most of them don't last more than 30 or 60 days. Occasionally I've had a couple eke out right at 90 days, but the last 20 or 30 have all finished out 30 to 60 day time frame. And that's on purpose. I enjoy the early mid-game stuff a lot more than the mid-late game stuff. I've already done all the gun stuff, all the cool super mobile stuff and so on, and had my fun with it. So I tend to go more Nomad than I do static, because static doesn't offer me the variety and doesn't allow me to set certain challenges. So I think the most recent static one I did, I remember the last Fireman, where I did a static base at the fire station that I started inside of a big city. So I stayed in one place for that one and survived it and did great, had a good time. That's a good series. I like that a lot. I point people to that for how to kind of do base building and survive in the city and all that. But yeah, I'm almost always Nomad. Yeah, Thomas, the noisemakers of various types. The problem is just line of sight. You can do that kind of thing, but there's a tricky combination of zombie sight, smell, sound, and hearing and such. So which one takes precedence over the other gets really, really murky to try to determine in-game practice. So it just really, really depends. Generally speaking, you're better off just maneuvering around, but I have the same issue with the crouch mechanic. Trying to make noisemakers for distraction is the same issue I have with the crouch mechanic. I crouched for the first time tactically the other night. I was just trying to pass under a windowsill without getting spotted, and it worked great for that, but I can't seem to find too many situations where I crouch in realistic tactical modes or reasons, just because of the way the game works. But yeah, you can shoot guns beyond your line of sight. Can you hit something that you can't see? Does it actually hit the space, I guess? And if you've got a gun, it's kind of a moot point. I mean, if you've got a gun, shoot it from 14 away. Yeah, you're going to miss a lot. If it's a handgun, you may not ever hit. But, I mean, if you've got a gun, you've already got things mostly fixed. Especially with the turrets in their current condition. I mean, walk up to 5 spaces away and shoot it with a handgun. You don't need to do the little box trick I demonstrated earlier. Hey, Vorm, love your stuff on YouTube. Do you still say that round doesn't matter for moving? What? What are we talking about here? Are we talking about circular distances versus square distances? And if so, why are we still having that conversation like 3-4 months after they made the change? I've had that conversation like a dozen times now, and I maintain it still makes no difference. If two things are using the same rules for movement and you just add a few numbers to both sides of the equation is still exactly equivalently. There's no difference as long as both sides are using the same movement points. I understand that you can point to certain situations and say, well, if you move diagonally versus orthogonally in this particular circumstance, then you save points. But then you have to actually reverse that and say, well, yeah, but then if the zombie's in your position and you're moving the opposite direction, the zombie gets the benefit. So people People keep trying to tell me this little story about that, and I'm just puzzled. I really don't care. It makes no difference. Would you do a max enemy spawn rate challenge? Oh, what is the max? I've never even remotely been considered the max. I mean, wouldn't that be just a massive laggy slog to try to do that kind of thing? But no, I've never considered doing a max enemy spawn rate challenge. I assume you combine that with, like, slowing them down slightly. Otherwise, I'm not sure what the point is. There are certain things that I don't bother with because they're just kind of... why? I just can't figure out a reason to try to do that kind of thing. Branch out and play another similar game, Unreal World or Dwarf Fortress Adventure. I definitely wouldn't do Dwarf Fortress Adventure. I've eyeballed Dwarf Fortress a few times. My problem with Dwarf Fortress is nothing about Dwarf Fortress. The problem is I've played it. I've played it not a bunch, but I've played it off and on a number of times over the years, and I know what the gameplay is. I wouldn't gain anything myself by playing it. I'd have to go relearn it, and it's a famously hard game to learn because of the depth and the complexity and the world building and the history stuff and the keyboard presses and so on. And I've played enough other games that are based on it, like RimWorld and those other kinds of management games, that I just, every time I look at it and I say, well, maybe I'll try this on the channel, I go watch a video on it, or I go look it up again, and I just go, I just can't bring myself to. Thoughts on Kevin's recent attitude and behavior? No comment is acceptable if you don't want drama. I'm entitled to my own opinion. I mean, it's everybody gets their own opinion. I understand why he might feel or act or respond certain ways. He's in a high-profile position with a lot of people with very specific opinions, and I bet he just gets really, really sick and tired of the nonsense. So, I'm not going to talk too much about that. I'm not going to talk at all about that. Everybody has their own opinion. I've got my own opinions on things, but I try to stay as hands-off as possible from the dev side. I very purposely do not code dive. I don't submit to GitHub. Yes, I know about tons of bugs in the game. No, I'm not going to submit GitHub PRs or issue tickets or anything like that. I try to keep myself outside of that whole loop, keep myself as neutral and as player-focused friendly as possible. So I have no official opinion one way or the other. I sympathize for Kevin. Whether he's right or wrong is up to you to decide. Everybody has their own feelings on what he does, how he does it, and how he says things. But I'm not gonna jump onto that bandwagon. Is there much difference between a Humvee and an armored car other than the plating? From memory, the Humvee... Does the armored car have the security system? I think the armored car has a security system. I could be wrong. I always preference the Humvee. It's the security system. It's the... what else was there? It's been so long since I compared the two. I'd have to actually summon some up and take a look. There are differences, and the Humvee also has the recharge station. So it's the recharge station, the lack of the security system, and God, there's something else I remember was always make my preference. Now, if I haven't found a Humvee yet, and I've got a working armored car, I'll jump in it and run it and use it. But if there's two sitting next to each other, I am 100% of the time always getting into my beloved Humvee. Does crouching improve accuracy and reduce recoil? No, it does not. Crouching makes you silent or quieter as you're moving at the expense of massively increased movement points. So it's slower, but it is quieter. That's pretty much it. It cuts down the vision range, and it cuts down on the sound that you make while you're moving, and there's no other benefits currently. They may change that in the future. I've heard talk that they're thinking of doing a prone status, where you can use bipods and get aim bonuses and things like that while you're firing from prone. But far as I know, that's the only way to do that, short of using bipods and windowsills or vehicles to set them on. Did I ride a horse yet? I did. I rode a horse on, I forget the name of the challenge I was doing. We tested out the desert mod, and as part of the desert mod, I was at a ranch, and I tamed horses, and I rode the horses around, and then I got off, and I closed that thing out, and I said, nope, not for me. Horses are broke. So they're once they fix them up, and they've had a few more passes of balancing and issues corrected and all that, I'll revisit the whole process. But for now, to me at least, it's more of a gimmick than anything. I'm happy they're adding that kind of stuff again, but it's not quite ready for prime time. In particular, at the time I used them, when you dismounted, the horse would teleport. And they fixed that, I've read. I saw a PR go by that fixed that problem, so they don't do that anymore. But in addition, the horses had infinite endurance. You could run around on a horse forever at way faster than anything else could move, and never run out of. It didn't have gas. It doesn't have energy. It doesn't have endurance. Nothing. So you could just permanently move around at super speed forever, which is just totally game breaking nonsense. So that one I don't think has been fixed yet. I don't remember seeing anything on it. If it has, somebody let me know. But yeah, there's some issues there. Do you like sci-fi more or fantasy genre for games? I'm not sure I have a preference there. I also don't have a preference on books. I'm a voracious omnivore when it comes to reading fiction. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I average about 50 books a year. Yeah, maybe probably more than that. It's maybe 2 a week, so it's probably double that actually. 50 to 100 books a year. Switched to audiobooks many years ago, so it's a little easier. But yeah, I don't know if I have a preference. I think just from commonality of creation, I think there's more fantasy-based games than there are science fiction-based games. But I don't have a particular preference one way or the other. You can crouch behind a shelter to fire at a turret. If you can find a situation where the shelter offers you enough coverage to hide you from the turret's vision range, then yes. But I'm trying to think where that might actually happen. I mean, that's one of those things that, while technically true, I'm trying to think of an occurrence where I've ever actually seen that opportunity. Yeah, this is my D&D party. we're all set up for my D&D session here. We got our dice, we got our GM, there's our Dungeon Master's Guide and our fantasy novels, and only one character sheet. Which kind of character sheet is it? Alright, game. I have to pick it up in order to see it. Yeah, I can't tell which character sheet that is. I think they specify, if I remember right. You did say I did say I'm from your YouTube videos. That's why I'm commenting on something from 3 months ago. That is true. That's true. That's a fair statement. So if you're not aware, for anybody kind of tuning in here, I live stream. Here's another common answer to a common question. Hey Vorm, why the hell are there so many private videos on your channel? Well, anything on my channel that's not available to watch, the reason is I live stream on Twitch 3 nights a week, 8 hours at a time. That's 24 hours a week of live stream Cataclysm. I have found while doing my YouTube stuff that putting more than a couple of hours of Cataclysm on the channel a day gains me absolutely nothing. I get no extra views, no extra metrics of any kind. Basically, in a nutshell, I make not a single penny more if I put 10 hours of Cataclysm a day on my YouTube channel instead of 2 episodes. The people that are going to view still only watch a certain amount, and then they're done. And it tends to flood the channel, and people get the feeling that they're not going to be able to keep up, and they fall behind in the episodes and so on. So it does not behoove me or help me to put 5 hours a day of Cataclysm on my YouTube channel. So what ends up happening is I record 24 on Twitch, and my Twitch schedule has been set for quite a while now. I've been doing that for a year. I forget exactly, but it's been quite a bit. But I only upload to YouTube, or release on YouTube, 2 hours per day. Well, 24 hours per week on Twitch, and only 14 hours per week on YouTube. There's 10 hours missing. There's 10 extra hours of footage. So when that started to happen, I would upload it to YouTube after I got it all done editing and so on. And then I would schedule it for the next day, for then 2 days away, for 3 days away, 4 days away. And basically, I would just keep putting up my 2 hours a day and then just future schedule the additional. Well, what's happened is over a period of time, I've been so consistent about my live streams and how much footage I'm generating that if I maintain this YouTube schedule, the length of that future log has grown and grown and grown. And this Monday's Twitch live stream, when I finish chopping it up and uploading it to YouTube, it's going to stretch into next year. So the Friday's episode on Twitch, I uploaded this morning, and it's going to release on Christmas Day. So that's how much footage I've got stockpiled up on YouTube. And so I commonly get comments on my YouTube videos. Hey, how come you didn't do this? How come you didn't respond to that? How come you don't do this? Didn't you know about this? And what's happening is you're watching a video from 2, 3, 4 months ago when whatever you're talking about might have been a brand new feature that I didn't know about yet, or I hadn't encountered yet, or whatever. But you're using current information and knowledge and responding or commenting on videos that were recorded months ago. So sometimes there's a bit of a disconnect there. And I try to mention it when I get the comments. I'll talk about how old the video is and what I might have been doing or thinking or what I knew, what I didn't know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's the situation. I've got a future log of episodes because of the difference between how many hours I stream on Twitch and how many I release on YouTube. It's a problem. I talked about it last update, and I'm trying to think of ways I can bridge that gap, and it's something I was going to talk about this episode. But I'm not quite ready to do it yet, so we're gonna hold off on that conversation. But yeah. All right. Next thing. Hey Vorm, is it too hard to craft ammo for guns, or why do you never bother collecting your casings? I have to say, I never tried to make bullets. Is that a real question? I see your little laugh at the bottom there. I think Mac Attack's having fun with me. There's a few things that Vorm is famous for never doing. Never ever wanting to do, never doing, never gonna do. That would be farming and reloading bullets. Reloading rounds of ammo. Just not gonna happen. If you think about it, if you've watched one of my challenges from start to finish, at the point where I die, think about all of the ammo I saw during the run, how many I picked up, and how many I actually fired. The number is vanishingly small. I just don't care. I don't need to. There's ammo everywhere in the game world. Once I have a gun and some bullets, I really don't care. I get the same comments in regards to, hey, you fired this gun, but you passed up on this gun, which has this particular percentage point of benefit or difference in stats, and you could have done that and this, and you had this alternate ammo that could have been used for that. Honestly, the answer is, I just don't care. I got enough to pay attention to, enough I'm keeping track of, and I try to keep the challenges moving. Micromanaging that kind of stuff doesn't interest me. It's not necessary. It's really hard for me to think of an encounter where I died where I said, damn, if only I had picked up and used that other gun, I would have stayed alive. Or only if I only had a couple more rounds of that other bullet style, I would have been okay. It just almost never happens. So, I get a lot of that, though. Some stuff I just don't do because I don't care. I'm aware that there are better ways. I'm aware that certain things are better than other certain things. But if I have basic functionality and I'm familiar with the item, I go with the thing I'm familiar with instead of picking up the other odd thing that could hold a few more liters of space or fire a space farther away or has 2 extra AP of armor penetration or so on. So that's the kind of thing. Another thing is just that how many things would you like me to min-max? If I were to apply the full power of my game knowledge to the gameplay, a single challenge run would be about 10,000 hours as I micromanage my way through every single decision, not just the one thing that you happen to identify during a playback and figured, well, why didn't he do that? You got to think that, well, there's probably 50 other things in the previous hour that I also didn't micromanage. And so, which ones do you want me to micromanage? Which ones don't you? There's some on-purpose decision-making going on in there. But I don't pretend to be the best Cataclysm player. I've never stated it. I never will state it. I make mistakes. I do stupid things. I say stupid things. And I put it all up on YouTube. So there's no editing going on there. So yeah, you get the stupid with the good and the miracle escapes and all that kind of stuff. And mostly it's just, I'm too familiar with the game. I know where all the stuff's at. I can go get it if I want it or if I need it. And that kind of controls that side of things. A bit of a tangent there. More chat. Got that. You gonna play Stalker as we suggested in the Discord? I'm not gonna play Stalker. I've played Stalker. I've played a few of the Stalker set games. They're a little clunky for me. You won't see me do too much in the way of FPS type stuff on the channel. I'll probably dabble in Borderlands 3. That's light enough and such that I'll do it. But I know my niche. I don't think I'm going to attract all that much attention with things like Stalker. It's a great game. I mean, I've known of it for a long time and I've played versions. But it's not something I would consider to do for the channel. Hey there, PC Dragon Productions. Yeah, we're coming up on the first hour. I think the first 5-10 minutes was just me getting things rolling. But yeah, you can't use. I don't have any of the bot commands or any of that stuff rolling. But there's going to be some fun issues when there's both prone and knockdown. Well, technically there already is knockdown. You like bio operators will knock you down. There's a few other things that will knock you down. And it basically just freezes you in place for a round or two while you get back up again. So technically we have knockdown status. Oh yeah, Dwarf Fortress is awesome. I have nothing but full respect for Dwarf Fortress. That is a masterful game. I'm just not convinced that I would be interested enough personally, and that there would be enough interest from an audience for me to try to relearn Dwarf Fortress. It's been about 5 years since I last dabbled with it, and it takes a lot of effort to keep up with Cataclysm. I mean, it takes a lot of effort. A lot of time, a lot of effort. What you guys see on camera is only a portion of what I have to do to try to stay current with Cataclysm. And, I mean, planning out the quick tip, quick slip, university, all those videos, editing the highlights, reading change logs to try to understand what changes are in the game, keeping up my demo test world so I can jump in real quick and figure something out so I can answer questions on Reddit and Discord and on my YouTube comments. I spent a lot of time just trying to keep track of Cataclysm. So unless I dial way back on that kind of stuff, it's hard for me to invest that kind of time and effort into a game that's similar enough that I'm not sure just what kind of benefit either the audience or I would get out of it. Chirpy Squirrel, Vorm, started playing CDDA when I saw Rycon. Been watching your videos now. Highly enjoy it, and it has made my gameplay better. Keep it up. I will keep it up. Yeah, Rycon's awesome. Rycon and I wave at each other all the time. Send people back and forth to each other. Very different playstyles between Rycon and I, so I think we complement each other's content for Cataclysm fairly well. Prospector is an 8-year-old game where you can manage a crew and explore worlds, collect valuable ore for money. Maybe. I've never heard of it again, but the fact that I haven't heard of it kind of scares me. I'm ridiculously dialed into the game world, especially in the roguelike side of things. But will you do a Twitch YouTube chat plays Cataclysm? Ooh. Here, let me show that in case it didn't show up. I'm not sure how that would work. I have a really hard time trying to figure out ways to integrate player involvement with Cataclysm. Partly due to the streaming format and time frames and who gets to participate, who doesn't. I haven't done anything like that yet. And I haven't seen it done in any kind of a similar game to kind of give me an idea of how it would flow, how the gameplay would flow. It seems to me it would be just stupendously slow moving. And I'm not sure at what points you put interaction points. So I'm just not sure that it can be done in a way that would be interesting. Do you ever end a challenge early since viewer numbers drop if the challenge goes on for too long? No, not really. And whose viewer numbers are you referring to? Are we talking about Twitch or are we talking about YouTube? So, I am aware that the first episode of my series tends to get a lot of views, and then it slopes off fairly quickly from there. Another metric is to know is that I made a purposeful decision when I started my YouTube channel that I would not pursue the 20-minute episodes stuff that I see so many other gaming channels do, where they're min-maxing the audience retention numbers and the metric numbers and so on. So they have typically 21 to 23-minute videos cut off almost like on an exact timer. And I decided not to do that. I decided specifically to do long-form videos. And there's a possibility I'll change at some point, or certain games might lend itself to that kind of thing. But I always felt that for the kind of gameplay, especially with Cataclysm, it benefited from having longer-form videos. And it also cuts down on the amount of micromanagement I have to do in the editing. I mean, everything takes time. So if I were to cut these things down to 20-minute episodes, that triples the amount of time I have to spend editing video, finding clean cut points and making sure everything's clean. I have to upload 3 times the videos to YouTube, meaning I have to type in 3 times the number of form screens. If you've never submitted a video to YouTube, you don't know what I mean by it's not a simple process. You got to fill out a lot of info. There are some tools that help, but it's an involved process. So tripling that workload, I just didn't see the benefit. So no, I don't purposely ever end a series early just because I think that it's going on too long. I get bored with runs, and I get to a point where there's really nothing left that I feel I need or want to do. We have ended a few series early because of that. But usually it's either yet another turret death, a YATD, or it's I succeed, and it's just time to kill the character and move on. But I try to keep the challenges... I guess my response to that is less do I end a run early, as it is do I plan challenges with goals that I know can be achieved in a reasonable-ish amount of time. I think that's a more reasonable response. Yes, I have adapted how I choose challenges to try to keep them within a reasonable time frame. Sometimes I guess totally wrong about how hard or how long it's going to be. But yeah, I don't ever just end a run just because I think the numbers are going to be low. You got the joke, did you? Vorm reloading bullets? Yeah. You the regulars know. That's a hot button topic. Hand load the ground with vegetation. There's a funny person right there. Everybody note the funny person. AKA farming? No, I don't care what you dress it up as or what language you use to describe it. There will be no farming, Cataclysm Farming Simulator 2019. Opinions on bikes. I've never seen you even check them for working status. Oh man, you're in for a treat in about 3 months. So, the Twitch regulars will know that, yes, I have recently fallen in love with bikes. I've done a number of challenges that have used bikes very successfully, and there are entire series devoted to bikes, or a series devoted to bikes specifically, that are coming up. So, I think they might... No, it's probably been too long now. They probably rolled off my Twitch channel by now. But yes, I've learned a newfound appreciation for bikes in the game, and the pitfalls that occur when you're trying to use bikes in the game. We had a good time with them. I really like the bikes now. I do keep an eye out for bikes, and am slotting them into my regular gameplay now. Lack of protection against shockers. If the game decides I need a shock, I get shocked. Too many times you've all seen me just open a door, get shocked, step around a corner, get shocked. It just seems to be on a timer. Cataclysm RNG just decides and sets up a situation for me to get shocked, so I'm kind of blasé about it at this point. Fully expecting a massive realism nerf for all melee and non-gun ranged now. Didn't they already do a massive realism nerf? Isn't that called the stamina changes? That everybody is still complaining about? And my personal opinion on the stamina changes, I think they went a little too far. I wish there was maybe 25% less of a nerf than they hit it with. But, yeah, and especially with certain circumstances. The most recent one that I'm dealing with is when you have a character with a martial art and he has certain mutations like kicks and horns and fangs, you'll go from full stamina to zero stamina in just a couple of zombies. Because all of these things are having stamina costs attached to them. So you swing your weapon once, and then your kick goes off, and then your fangs go off, and then your claws go off, and then your horns go off, and all of a sudden, yes, you've killed the one zombie, but you've also done 4 times more damage than necessary to kill the zombie, and expended 4 times the stamina you needed to kill the zombie. So, yeah, that feels like an issue. That feels like an issue. Since you have no direct control over when those other things occur, I mean, you go to squash a crawling zombie and you hit it for 200 points of damage with all these pile-on special attacks, when you only needed to hit it for 30 to kill it, and you end up losing massive piles of stamina. It seems like there needs to be something looked at. Challenge, which you've probably already done. You can only attack at range, nothing 1 square away. I've done ranged focus runs. I've done gun focused runs. Not a lot, but a few. There's too many circumstances where that becomes instant death, and or you have to weasel lawyer your way out of it. Where, I mean, you can step into a dead-end hallway, for example, and something plugs the hallway behind you, and they get to you before you can shoot them. Or you didn't see them until they were right behind you, then what? You're still not allowed to shoot them? Or not allowed to attack? I don't know. There's too many... I gotta be careful with those kinds of rules or restrictions, because I've tried doing that kind of stuff, and I always end up having to weasel my way out of the rules that I set, because of things you just can't control. Never get hit in 2 weeks challenge. No, there will not be a never get hit in 2 weeks challenge. A flawless victory challenge? No flawless victory challenges. Alright, well, we're starting to get caught up on chat. Anybody else got any chatty type things? We're a little over an hour in, so I don't have any particular thing beyond what we've talked about. Like I said, if you have an opinion on the change log video once a week, where I can just kind of highlight things I consider major changes from the change logs over the previous week. I'll be happy to take opinions on whether that would be useful or not. What else has occurred in-game recently that I think needs mentioning? I mentioned at the top of the hour, the Wandering Turrets Syndrome has now been fixed, so that's no longer an issue. If you missed the very beginning of the broadcast tonight, make sure you go back and watch it, because I demonstrate a super secret, just for you guys, super secret, special way of dealing with turrets. So make sure you go back and watch that. Have I ever done a musclehead challenge? Obtain the maximum amount of strength with low intelligence? What do you consider maximum? I mean, am I obeying the multi-pool rules, single pool rules, freeform rules? Do I have to get the hydraulic muscles for the 25 strength boost? Do I have to get the +2 cybernetic? Do I have to get the +7 strength from mutations? 7? 4? How high can you go on mutations? I forget. When you say max, you gotta be careful. There's an awful lot of variety in this game. And are we talking theoretical max? Are we talking realistic max, given certain world-building situations? I'm not sure what max means in that circumstance. I don't often go superpower characters, though. Most of my characters tend to be everyman characters. It's pretty rare that I have above a 10 or an 11 in a stat. Also, do I play stats through skills, stats through kills? Do I get to use mods like that? There's a lot of variance involved there. But no, I haven't really done... I know at some point I've done a strong run, but I can't remember which challenge it might have been. But I play with low intelligence characters fairly often. You recently watched a video about turret changes. Have they done anything to fix lab starts? What fix are you referring to? So they fixed the wandering turrets. They're all back in their original designated places now. They're not misplaced often in different rooms or in middle of hallways. And by that, what I mean is those turrets that are in those little square rooms where the turret's supposed to be up on the countertop next to the computer, those have been wandering for months now. And that's what I was complaining about on the turret update video. It is normal for turrets to appear in certain hallway locations, and once you're familiar with the map generation, you can suspect where they're at and be careful about them. But there are some outside of those small square rooms that you still do have to deal with, but they're purposely placed there. Those aren't wandering turrets in those locations. But I'm not sure what you mean by fix the lab start. Lab start's perfectly fine. It's easy to escape a lab. In my opinion, the turret change makes it easier to escape the lab than it does make it harder. But I'm just way stupid familiar with the labs, so it's easier for me. But I don't see a lot of difference. So they make it harder in one way, but they make it easier in another way, and you just gotta kind of manage which one. Like to see in the game if you know more than one martial arts that you can combine them if they are compatible. Yeah, there's a big there's a big martial arts overhaul going on right now. But he's going through individually, I think alphabetically, and updating them. Seems very knowledgeable, very consistent in the changes he's making. There's people that grumble when their favorite martial art gets the nerf hammer applied to it. But he's coming up with pretty cool, interesting ways to give them diverse abilities and keep them more in a realistic vein instead of giving them some kind of superpower that doubles or triples damage all of a sudden. So I got nothing but good things to think about the martial arts changes so far. Whether some can be combined or you can be a master of multiples and get benefits from multiples, that's a whole different conversation. I don't know if there's plans for that or not. Either Xenon. What do I think about stats through skill? I think I have no problem with them. It's a single player game. If you enjoy that addition, go for it. I have a hard time when people say this is OP, this is too powerful, this and the other, whatever. I mean, it's a single-player game with thousands of ways to modify it to your own playstyle, your own desire, and so on. So who's the judge that gets to say, here is the one true way to play? You must always use multi-pool, you must not use these mods, and so on. There isn't one. Everybody gets to play it however they want it within the ability of mod authors and the gameplay mechanics to offer changes. I mean, I get a lot of people that kind of bend me the wrong way because of the way they seem to play holier-than-thou judgment on the way other people play the game. I got absolutely no problem with people using it. I don't choose to use it myself, but I've moved my own play style away from the Superman play style way earlier than all the changes that have been coming down recently that have been also moving the game in that direction. I had my fun when I first started playing with stats through skills. I did use it in quite a bit of my early challenges when I was first learning the game and figuring things out. But one of the very first things I stopped using as soon as I started moving up my difficulty levels is stats through skills. Stats through kills wasn't around back then, but yeah, I stopped using that kind of stuff just because I was looking for ways of making the game harder as my ability in playing the game got better. And so not giving myself 3 or 4 extra points of statistics is one of the ways that I was able to do that. But I mean, it's fun, it's cool, it adds some variety to the game. If you want to play more of a superpower character type of game, then that's a good way of doing it. I don't know of any other way really of doing it. Short of doing free form and just giving yourself whatever stats through skills basically just parses that out over a period of time. It's a little weird to me that you read a book and you get better at certain things, or your stats go up in certain areas. That seems a little strange, but there's not too many other ways you could really tie it into the gameplay, I don't think, that would be reasonable. But yeah, go for it. If you like stats through skills, stats through kills, whatever. Get it set up and have fun. All mutation, all augment, default game. Oh, now we're setting all the restrictions? I see. My point was just that some questions and some challenges, suggestions need to be dialed down a little tighter. Otherwise, my knowledge of the game and what might happen is going to get in the way. No lab allowed challenge. I keep thinking I'm going to do that. I've tried it once or twice, and what happens is all the stuff that I need is in the damn labs. That's where it's all at. I mean, that's why I mentioned earlier in the evening that I wish they would spread out the stuff among some other locations or get some variety in that mid to late game content. Just too much of the game is wrapped into labs and now research facilities. And I still have my same problem with research facilities. Just a stupid amount of stuff in those places. And still not nearly hard enough to get into. I don't know. You wouldn't like my personal opinion on martial arts, Thomas G. you would not like it. Not even a little bit. And yes, I will expound. My opinion is nobody should be learning a martial art during the Cataclysm. I think it's stupid. We harp on realism, but you go from knowing nothing to be a kung fu master within a couple of, literally a couple of minutes or hours now. Used to be a couple of minutes, now I think it's a couple of hours to master a martial art style. When they first made that change, I thought they were making it so it would take a long time to learn one, but no, it's just... takes a couple hours now instead of a couple of minutes, but I don't think anybody should be learning martial arts during the Cataclysm. The time scale is just way too small. Either pay your points during character gen to learn a martial art that you had studied for years and years prior to the Cataclysm, or you don't get one. That's my personal opinion. I don't understand, barring the Superman gameplay and the, hey, it's cool, I know Kung Fu all of a sudden. Beyond that style, it just doesn't mesh with the supposed slant towards realism that we're doing. So I think it makes perfect, reasonable sense to pay your points during character gen, make character gen even more important and more critical. And if you want to be a Dragon Master Kung Fu, great. Pay those points, you're a Dragon Master Kung Fu. But you're not also going to be a Krav Maga specialist or ninjutsu or Sojutsu or any of the other ones. So you get your one that you spent all that years of time training for before the Cataclysm, and that's what you get. So I think it's nonsensical that you get to read a book for an hour, and all of a sudden you're a master. So yeah, that's my opinion. Do I think they'll change it? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. I do not, and I've said this many times, and I will continue to say it, I do not want nor expect any of the devs or any of the contributors to balance the game according to my personal preferences or opinions. I am not the target audience that they should be balancing anything against. So, my opinion. I think it's stupid. I think it's fun. Don't misunderstand me. I think it's fun, but I think it's stupid. So there you go. Straight up, real talk from Vormithrax. Let's see. A curl start. That's pretty. Isn't that just basically not being able to read? Isn't that what that is? I can't remember the exact things that the curl starts with, but I think illiterate is pretty much the main thing, if I remember right. Am I remembering wrong about that start? Does using stuff like lockers and metal racks in your base do something, or is it just for aesthetics? It actually does do something. So floor spaces, like I'm pointing at here, can only hold 1,000 liters of space. There are various furniture items that will hold more than 1,000 liters. So I think a bookcase is 2,000. Locker is more. I forget the full list. I almost never bother because I just don't accumulate that much stuff in my games anymore, so I don't really care. But they actually do have a function. They can hold more stuff, more liters in a single space than just a floor tile can. So some of them also will obscure the items unless you're next to them, standing next to them. You can't see them. Some you can see through them. There's variations of the various types of items and what they do. But the main function is that various items will have different quantities available that they can hold. I don't think there's... No, there's none of them down here that I can kind of pull. Actually, there's bookcases over there. Does it show the details? Nah, it doesn't show the details. I think I'd have to go up and examine it. And we'd lose my friendly bunch of gamers here, would go rampaging through the basement if I move, or if I let any time pass. But yeah, so they actually have a function. I have a challenge for you. The floor is lava. I did some kind of a joke about the floor is lava for Cataclysm. Was it Cataclysm? Maybe it was another game. I can't remember. But I recently had some fun with the floor is lava concept. In some game. It's been a month or two back. I can't remember what it was about now. Alright. What are we up to? Coming up on about an hour and a half. I'm starting to run out of steam for questions, so looks like chat is slowing down. Anybody else got any last-minute questions, opinions, comments, and so on? I will, if not, I'll wrap things up and we can go about our business. It should just make it so you need to find software and have it installed in order to do martial arts. That would be like the bionic combatives for CBMs. If you slot in like a martial art. I could see that possibly. If you're some kind of a bionic warrior of some type, maybe it would require some kind of a special deck that you would slot these martial art cards into. That makes a little more sense, but it does stretch a little further away from the current time period realism that they're aiming for. So I'm not sure if they would go for it. But thematically, that does make a little more sense than just picking up a book and reading. XCOM 2 playthrough? No, not really. Haven't considered an XCOM 2 playthrough. Played tons of XCOM in the olden days, back in the original XCOM, but I haven't played the most recent version. Alright, we're going to wrap things up right here. So, hey everybody, thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out, chatting, asking questions, all that good stuff, listening to my my inflammatory remarks and opinions about the state of Cataclysm. And like I said, make sure to go out and use that super secret turret destroying trick that I showed at the top of the episode, because I want to see how berserk people get about that thing. Not likely to get much attention unless you post about it or comment about it. But yeah, it's a fun thing to do. A lot of crazy things you can do in the Cataclysm. So I will be back on Monday, tomorrow, to continue the current challenge over on Twitch for all you Twitcher Fire folks. So I hope to see you there. And as always, make sure you remember, if you have Amazon Prime, to go create a Twitch Prime account. And then click on the little sub button on my channel so we can get some support for the channel. Any tips, donations, subs, and support is greatly appreciated and very necessary. It helps the channel grow, helps me plan out what we're going to do to improve the channel and get some more content for you guys. So thank you very, very much. And I will be back next month with another channel update / Q&A type of thing. And I'll give some serious thought about the changelog updates weekly. Maybe I'll do one, see what people comment and think about it, and then we'll go from there. So have a great evening. See you next time. Stay safe out there.